Hi everyone. I hope you enjoyed that Celeste run. Very good. I'm Crazy Jesse. I'm taking over hosting now, and what we've got coming up right now is Subnautica by AJChimaera. He's going to be doing all achievements on PC. Take it away, AJ.
Thank you very much. Yes, this is an all achievements run, slightly longer than an 80% run. I'm AJChimaera. I've been running this game for almost a couple of years now, I think, and I'm just going to literally dive right in. So we start time after we skip the cutscene at the start of the loading screen. This is running on the current patch. It's popular to down patch to an older version to allow some different glitches, but the loading times on the current patch are much faster. So time starts in 3, 2, 1, and go. And we go straight into it. Gotta be very careful you don't click the ladder there, because that wastes a lot of time, even though it is one of the best cutscenes in the game. So just need to grab a few resources. Straight off the bat, there is a lot of counting, a lot of resources, and normally a lot of resetting for a good spawn in this game. I'm not doing that. I'm just going to go with it. I do have a safety save set up in a good place if I need it. But for now, we're just going to run around, grab some stuff. This isn't a terrible place to start. It's kind of in about the middle of the map, I think. So we very quickly just get assaulted by some crashfish there. They are the bane of the no damage run. So we built ourselves a scanner. That's very important, because we're going to be scanning a lot of new blueprints. Those of you who have played this game may not realize necessarily, but I get a lot of questions about people saying, oh, is the map random? It's not, but the spawn location is when you first load in, which on repeated playthroughs gives the impression, unless you've memorized the layout, that it's actually procedurally generated of some sort. But it is a set location, so we can know exactly where to go for certain things. We want to find a couple of these boxes over here. If that stalker will leave me alone. So we want to sea glide first of all, because that's our fastest mode of transport. You can find them just randomly around the shallows, but they're more likely at a wreck. I believe it's a 10% likelihood per spawn node instead of 2%. So we just dive through this cave system and grab a few more of these resources here. We need quite a lot of stuff to get going. We did recently find a duplication glitch in the game, but it takes quite a lot of setup, so we do use it, but only later and only for specific things. A lot of it is still just resource collection. And I should probably be counting some of this, but there's various points that you just check your inventory and realize what you have and what you need. This is a very different starting flow to how we would normally do it because of the spawn location. But you can certainly get a competitive time even on these more southern spawn areas. There's still relatively competitive times on the boards from years ago from people who were less discriminating on where the spawn location was. It's only once you start to really grind it down that you just becomes reset simulator, as we like to call it. So let's go through these caves here. Grab some of that. I need a minimum amount of limestone for the copper, but I think I have that. Yep. I've taken a bit more damage than I would have liked, but that's okay. I'll be using a specific strategy that requires me to have a certain amount of health. But I think we'll get away with it. Grab this piece of metal here as well. The different spawn will also affect my routing slightly in the later game, but it's not throwing it too much off. Mostly right at the end of the game is where it'll make a difference. So normally wouldn't be making as much stuff at this point, but got a bit more sandstone material, so that's the electronics materials than I normally would. We just need some basic gear to get started. So we need our knife, and we need our oxygen tank, so we can stay underwater for longer, and our sea glide. The sea glide is the main thing that we're going to be using. And in your casual playthrough, what did I do? Nope, that's about right. I thought I dropped too many things at that point. Okay, now I've got to remember what to do next from the spawn location. I need some of these. From casual play, there's other vehicles that you use rather than just your Sea Glide, but in most speedruns we just use the Sea Glide almost exclusively. There is a speed glitch that I'll be enabling later, which justifies that. So that's about 10 of those, I think, 11, 12. Gonna need a few more copper. We're basically just going to go through this coral tube and fill up on resources, because they'll all come in handy, and then I can start subtracting away what I need from what I have. I actually need one of these things here. I don't need a peeper, but that's nice of you to come along by, Mr. Fish, but now we just loop around and back to base. Grab some more things along the top of these. These coral tubes are the best places for early game resources. And now we should be able to make our habitat builder, so that we can, do I have enough? Give me a sec. Did I make the batteries? No, I didn't. I knew I'd forgotten something. I forgot to grab more mushrooms. There we go. Normally I grab enough right off the bat when I'm making my scanner, but I didn't this time. So we need to get a base set up. Of course, I put a lot of things away earlier. We also need another gold, looks like. You're going to have to bear with me while I stir in my inventory a bit. There's a lot of that in this game. So we do that. And yes, I'm going to need some more. Another gold so I can get another fabricator put together. Not a hard
By all means,
now.
stare away.
Yep, anytime I'm just staring
at dono.
Absolutely, please do.
So we have a $6.09 donation from Finn 1924. It says, "Let's go, Aki." Thank you, Finn. Now, don't forget, everyone, that you can, at no extra cost to you, attach your donation to an incentive, which I am putting in the chat. And so, what these incentives? Oh, it didn't. It didn't ping. No. There we go. I forgot the S. Anyway, so we've got some great incentives coming up. We've got a costume select for Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, but we've also got some bonus runs to unlock. We've got the Hunk Run for Resident Evil 2 1998, and a glitch exhibition for Simpsons Hit and Run. So, and then we've got Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel, Audio Language, Bid War, and Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance, maximum any percent. So get your donos in, chucking incentives on the dono message, and we'll put it towards those.
So I just did a fun little thing here where I've flooded my base. You can use the acid mushrooms that you use to make batteries to flood your base, because it does damage to them. And then, didn't quite get it. Once you're at a flooded base, if you deconstruct and reconstruct the hatch, it does a fun thing in the game where it adds your walking and swimming speeds together, and now we go super fast. So we call that Super Sea Glide, and it is the predominantly useful glitch in the game. So grab another couple of quartz here. And yeah, thanks Finn for that donation. Good, got some more gold. It's handy. Inventory full. Okay, well I'll just eat that one instead for now. So now I've got the resources that I need to get some of those. Actually, I need to dump some stuff in my base now. So now I can create this fabricator. I believe I can also create my second one now as well. We build two so that we can alternate between them to speed up crafting later on. And I'm just going to build these lockers here. Put lead in this one. Make a battery, make a copper wire just to get those out of the way. All of these go in here. Okay. So now we come to the potentially one of the most annoying parts of the speedrun, and that is waiting for teeth. So there's a element that we need, which is reinforced glass essentially. It's called enameled glass, but it's essentially reinforced. And you make it by using stalker teeth. and they have a 25% chance of dropping whenever they pick up a piece of metal. Sometimes you can get them really quickly, other times it takes a lot of waiting. I also just used a little glitch called remote storage. I'll explain it a bit later in more detail. So I'm going to need to see whether or not these guys even have any metal to pick up. Okay, so the problem here is these pieces of metal are bugged and don't actually have a drop rate. So it's just RNG on RNG in this game. So, oh, this is also another bad piece of metal we call a contraband metal. Here's some good pieces. So this guy's got a few going. But now we just have to wait. I need at least 3, I need 5 in total. I need at least 2 so I can use a duplication glitch later to make up for it. But ideally 3. What I'm also going to do is steal his metal and actually bring it closer to this other pack. Because ideally you want them like competing for it. Don't mind the lag, there's a bit of interface lag when you open up the PDA a lot of the time. It's kind of when it does its garbage collection process in the background of the game. So now we wait. This is where games, when you're grinding the speedrun, you will reset a lot. There's one tooth. We have basically a deadline that you give. You get to this point as fast as you can, have a deadline of what time you deem acceptable, and then you reset if you don't get things underneath that time. It's quite brutal. We can theoretically come back and grab things later, but it's just more and more time that you're potentially wasting. This is why the estimate is an hour 30, when my PB is currently an hour and 5. Not just because of this, but because of lots of other RNG elements in the game. Just going to swim through here. So long as they're still within my load distance, they can still be picking up and dropping teeth from the metal. So I'm just going to collect a few other resources, so I'm not completely wasting my time. But now I've got to hope that they are... Yeah, see, now we've had a bit of a migration going on where one of them is stolen off with the piece of metal. I assume it's this guy over here has taken it away again. We're just going to have to go up to a backup pack, I think. These southern spawns, oh, hey, you're back again, that's good. Oi, over here. He'll come after me instead of the metal now, won't he? Yeah. So we're going to go to a backup pack, because that's going to take far too long. In some ways, it's not a bad way to spend the night time in this game, because obviously you craft things much faster in your base when it's daytime, because your solar panel is continually charging up. Just heard another guy around. There's another contraband. There's usually a pack over here. Let's just drop a few of these, and hopefully get the attention. I can scan this for the extra metal. Once you already know a blueprint, you scan a box again. Yeah, so here we go. Now we've got a bit of a throng of them. There we go, there's another tooth. We just need one more now. This would have been a good place to come straight away. It does make a distinctive noise when they drop as well, but you have to be in pretty close proximity to be able to hear it. This is perfect time for if you've got any more donations or to reinforce the incentives that are coming up. Okay.
Thanks for that, AJ. So we are Oz Speedruns. We're a group of speedrunners who do speedrun events to raise money for charity. For this event, we're raising money for the Royal Flying Doctor Service, who provide emergency and primary healthcare services to anyone who lives, works, or travels in rural and remote Australia. If you'd like to donate, you can go to donate.ozspeedruns.com. I'm going to put a link in the chat. There you go. Just a few things about the Royal Flying Doctor Service. They provide many services. They support telehealth, they have mobile eye care, mobile patient care, they offer a well-being service for mental health, community transport, dental services, rural women's services, mobile event care, speech therapy, and they even offer scholarships. We're very happy to be running the Royal Flying Doctor Service as our charity this time, and we hope you like them too and shoot them a donation. Back to you, AJ.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a good cause. I'm in New Zealand personally, but I love the fact that being part of the community is great. And yeah, the Royal Flying Doctors, they do amazing work. Such a big area that they have to cover. It's mind-boggling. So I'm just doing a little glitch here. This is our duplication thing that we discovered. If we set up a base in an impossible scenario here, so this window cannot join to this, but we try and complete it, and it thinks that it's done, and then we deconstruct it, and it's not there, but it also is. And the game gets confused. Now when we build anything in this base grid, it builds it, it completes it, but there's actually two there. So we can deconstruct the one on the outside, and there's still one there. And then we can deconstruct, reconstruct, and then the hitbox gets screwy, but now we can deconstruct it again, and we get more materials from it. And we do it again. That's 3 times, and again. That's 4 times, and again 5 times, and all of a sudden we have 12 glass where previously we had only 2. So that's super fun, especially for some of the really hard to get things later on. And it just looks hilarious. So now I can make myself a bigger oxygen tank. This is the largest that we actually need. I can now take those teeth and turn them into the enameled glass. I actually need 5, but with the duplication glitch I can make an observatory later that uses 2 of them, and I'll get more back. And then this other glass goes in there. We're going to need that later. Now it's time to go fetch a bunch of other things. So we need a lot more resources for all of our electronics. Ah, hang on, I just remembered that I used my remote storage earlier, so I need to actually empty this out and go downstairs with it. So that was a bit out of the normal logic that I'd do, so I got a bit lost on that. So we make that there. Once again, just setting up ourselves to have some more basic materials later on. We don't bother making any of the things like fins in this game because they don't affect the speed that you travel with your sea glide. So we do that, we reactivate our remote storage. So what I did just there was remote storage, which I used previously, by opening the life pod locker and then immediately leaving. The animation that is tied to opening the locker gets skipped, and the game caches the usage of the storage. So it's a common thing in a lot of games, having kind of cached storage. We can use it only once, but it's extremely useful. So now I need a lot more things. I need to do a lot more counting, mostly in my head, but I'll probably also be muttering to myself, but now's a good time to talk about anything else. This is a time that I kind of have to concentrate a fair amount on what I'm doing.
The only thing I was going to do was going to ask you a question, but if
Absolutely, no, that's fine. Yep, I can still multitask a little bit.
I was going to ask, when it comes to all achievements, is this going to be one single run where you get all the achievements, or are you going to do some extra new game, or are you going?
It's a good question. It is actually a game that you can achieve all of the achievements in a single playthrough. So yep, it's single segment. All of our main speedrun categories are single segment. So yeah, you can actually go through, which is great because I love that in a game, even just playing casually. I love being able to just go through and feel that I've done everything. There's no branching decisions or anything like that. You can just go through and yeah, obviously on Epic Games, for example, there aren't achievements, and obviously I already have all the achievements, so you don't get the notifications, but it's just a case of knowing what the triggers are. So we have a checklist that we've got linked in our leaderboard resources, so that way you can know what it is that gives the achievements in order to know whether or not you've completed them for the run. Some of them are really basic, like the very first achievement you get is just leaving the life pod. It's getting your feet wet is the very first achievement. Settling in for the long haul is the second one, and then you get that just from building a hatch on a base. So we've already got 2 of them done. Oh, I'm actually full of resources. That's awkward. That was a really good cave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I only need very few more of those. So that's actually quite spectacular. I also need to not drown, so I'll just hurry up on this. So I only need 3 more silver, which is amazing at this point in the game. I'm just going to book it. Yeah, so we already have 2 achievements done.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you continue.
One of my favorite things is going into the achievement statistics and finding out
Yes.
how many people haven't even gotten the first achievement on games.
Yeah.
Because it's like, 98% of people have gotten the first achievement, which is starting the game. And it's like, what is that 2% doing? What are they
Yeah.
sitting there on the title
It'll be
screen?
people who have... Well, yeah, because Steam thinks that you played the game just by loading up into the title screen. Or if they start playing it and realize that their graphics don't actually support it. So I've had that once. One of the very few games I pre-ordered was Deus Ex Mankind Divided, which we had speedrun just earlier. That was amazing to watch, because it took me like 40 hours to finish that game. I had to upgrade my graphics card just to play it. I was so excited to play it, I got it, knowing that it was going to be dicey, but went out and got myself my current 1070 in order to actually play it, so it didn't look like a slideshow. So we did a fun thing there where we built a base compartment inside one of the wrecks in the game, and it makes the shell of the wreck disappear. You need to be very careful with it because it also makes some important items disappear. But the only things I care about are these fragments for a propulsion cannon and the mobile vehicle bay, and they don't disappear. So generally, there are a few wrecks where everything is safe, but if in doubt, it's best not to risk it in your casual playthrough, just in case. There's a shadow of a mobile vehicle bay piece, but I can't see where the piece is. Oh, it's all the way up here. Of course it is. So I need that, and I need the sea moth. I need those fragments. So sand sharks are one of the derpiest carnivores in the game. Hi guys. They love just getting stuck in terrain, and their attack pattern is like, they look really scary, but their attack pattern is so ridiculous that even in a no damage run, you just don't even have to worry about them unless you run into their mouths directly. So this sea moth fragment is always here. There's certain fragments, especially near these life pods, that are always in that place. They're a fixed spawn. Sadly, not the case for most things, so we have to just go trawling around these wrecks. Thankfully, we have them all here, and then I will head back to base and not drown. So you actually drown at -8, so when you go to 0, you've got 8 seconds to get to the surface or safety. So in some ways our spawn was actually quite convenient there, that it isn't too far away from that point that we had to go to, so it was less out of the way than it could have been. I'm just going to pick up some more metal salvage on the way back, because that's always useful. And now we go back into our base, and we make a lot of things. And I just realized I never actually dumped the flares that I picked out of the locker, because you start with 2 flares and we use them for literally nothing. So I was going to drop those, but never mind. So I put 4 silver in there, and I've got all of that lead that I can drop as well. That's fine. Out we come. And we drop those and drop this lead, because it's good for literally nothing. We do use lead, but very sparingly. And now we want to start grabbing everything out of here. I can actually almost fit everything in, which is amazing, because I had such a great cave to start with that I did not need to grab too much stuff later. So I actually need 1 more copper, I believe. I miscounted earlier. That's fine. So all of those things turn 2 units into 1 unit, so we can condense our inventory that way. And we continue making all of our electronics. Oh, I just realized I forgot an important step earlier as well, so we're going to have to go foraging a little bit in a second. But that's fine. I think I actually got too much. Yeah, I did. That was actually such a good cave of resources that I got too many things. So I'm just going to dump all of that stuff in there. Now, the thing we forgot to do is collect some of this table coral. So on the latest patch, the table coral doesn't cut off into a single piece, it explodes into a million pieces like this, and it's extremely annoying. But you just drop it all onto the ground and pick it up afterwards. So now we use that for a lot of computer chips. These become relevant later. So I can actually make a lot of stuff at this point. Before I forget, that copper wire has to be made as well. And we go with this, we take that out, we give ourselves a rebreather so we can survive at depth for a lot longer. And we dump these in here, one of those in there, and we'll actually get rid of the other one because we don't need it. We need that, and we need 4 titanium, 5 titanium, sorry. And we need a spare battery. So we're going to, whenever you create a tool that uses a battery, it recharges it. So we swap out the battery from our Seagrillide to charge it up. And now we have a full battery in our propulsion cannon. So now we go to some of the lesser seen parts of the game in a normal speedrun. The main difference between any percent and all achievements is any percent obviously focuses on just what you need to do to leave the planet. All achievements we go to a couple of the other places that you find in your casual exploration. So I really enjoy that aspect of it, that you do get to see a little bit more of the map. You go to some of the pretty parts of the map. So we're going to delve down here into the Deep Grand Reef area. I'm going to stop past this wreck here because I want to get some particular fragments. Certain fragments are only found at certain wrecks, and even then they are random, of course, such as everything in this game. So we're looking for moon pool fragments, and I'm not finding any, which is slightly worrying. Here's one. The other aspect is that if you already know the blueprints of something, then unless it is a guaranteed spawn like the just gonna grab any extra cords, like the sea moth that I mentioned earlier, if you already know it, it won't appear at a wreck. So what I'm going to actually do is now scan these thermal plant fragments here, because then later on it's going to mean that I'm just going to go up for air for safety. Normally I just delve down a bit further, but I'm just going to make sure that I don't drown. Yeah, later on I'll be going past another wreck and I'll be pretty much guaranteed the other moon pool piece that I need, because I've already got the thermal plant from this wreck. So you can do a little bit of RNG manipulation. Unfortunately, normally if you're doing like a grind of this run at a competitive level, you can't afford to take that time, but thankfully we've given ourselves a bit of extra time on this. We can lay back and enjoy the scenery. This is one of the prettier parts of the game, the Deep Grand Reef. A lot of people get down here and then get scared by the crab squids, these fellas over here. That guy clipped into something and he's now teleported off into hyperspace. That's always fun. The collision in this game is very interesting, and you get kind of a movable object sort of things going on, because obviously the terrain can't move, but the creatures can, so things just get rocketed off at a high rate of knots if they clip when you load in. But the key with those crab squid guys anyway is if you keep your light off, and there's so much bioluminescence down there you don't need it on, they tend not to bother you unless you just swim right up to them. If you really harass them, then they'll still fight back, but they won't go after you aggressively if you have your light off. So, pro tip for casual players. So just going to come up to this island here now. It's all quite conveniently placed. We're going to build a base just under the surface of the water so that we can flood it and get our Super Seaglide back. That's why we have the propulsion cannon, because if you fire an item at a high rate of knots into a base, it takes damage and it floods. And then we do a dolphin dive out of the water. It's extra high because we had the Super Seaglide. And we come up here for our next achievement. We got one from visiting the Deep Grand Legacy base. We get a free battery from there. One of those PDAs, I forget which, is the one that gives me the achievement. Get stuck on a box. I'm going to scan this multi-purpose room. I could have done that down in the Deep Grand Reef, but I have free time here because I don't have to worry about my oxygen. So I may as well do it here instead of risk drowning. Grab the purple tablet, it'll become useful in a little bit moment. Just rub our faces on that for a bit for some reason. In any percent we actually skip the animation of that, so it's fun to run a category where we get to rub our faces on it again. And then we deconstruct this base, now that we have Super Seaglide again, and we dive back into the depths. Recurring theme. Anytime someone asks for things on what to do in this game, the simple answer is go deeper, because 9 times out of 10, that's what you need to do. So we're going to come down into this part of the sparse reef, as it's known, and we're going to get a few bits and pieces. So we need 4 rubies, 4 gel sacks, 2 diamonds, and some lithium. There's a diamond, 2, 3, and 4. And a lithium, 2 lithium, 2 gel sacks. Here's 3 gel sacks. 3 lithium is good. Is that the 4th gel sack now, I believe? It's really hard to see things at night here, unfortunately. Normally we would be here a little bit earlier. We are running a bit behind in this. I do have my splits up separately so I can kind of see what my progress is. So I need 1 more diamond still. The shale in particular, which drops the diamonds, is really hard to pick out from the walls. More gold, I'll take that as well. Time capsules like this are banned in official speedruns. They're fine in our bingo that we run, but there is a non-zero chance that it will drop a very important late game item. It's items that players have put in the game themselves from finishing a previous save, and it's possible to put things in that would severely reduce the time that it takes to finish the run, and obviously it's a random chance, so we can't really allow it. I really need another diamond, and I'm just not getting any shale. Either I'm blind or it's just not here, but I need to go up for air. That's fine. We'll do a bit of a safety strat later. We might be able to just get lucky. So line up over this way. You start to learn where things are. You can travel along at 0 meters and get your air without actually breaking the surface. And now we go down, we go past the guardian of the cave there. It's the big reef backs. And we go straight down here into a little cave system. And we work our way down. And we find some funky little tech down here. And open a door with the tablet we rubbed on our face earlier. And now we're going to closely inspect an ion cube. Grab 4 of these. Theoretically possible to skip the little slowdown effect there. It's a little cutscene when you pick it up, but it doesn't make any difference there. If anything, it just stabilizes things as you're going around collecting the other things. I actually need a salt here as well. Yeah, we make our...
So we've got a couple of donuts.
Oh, yep, go for it.
Oh.
Yep, I'm just deconstructing another wreck and getting some more blueprints, so at your time.
Very good. So we have a $32.28 donation from OtherMatt2. Thank you very much, OtherMatt, and they pass their compliments to the runner. Then we have a $11.55 donation from the Chaos Goddess. Sorry about that. And the Chaos Goddess says, "The gang is here wishing you luck, AJ. Crossing our fingers for good RNG."
Thank you. Yep, some familiar names there from the community.
And there's some Unicode thing that I can't see. I'm guessing it is the fingers crossed emoji.
One would assume.
So, quick question. So we're trying to work out what to do with the setup block next up. So we're just quickly wondering what kind of pace you're on. If you're going to be
on a good pace. Last split that I did, I was late doing anyway. But I'll be about on time. I don't think I'm going to be desperately faster. The spawn that I had really screwed things up on that, unfortunately. I was hoping to be nice and fast, but yeah, it's hard to tell at this point as well because there's so many things that can influence it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, your estimate's still an hour away, so...
Yeah, and that's pretty generous for things. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be finishing too early, unfortunately. But we'll wait and see.
Oh, it's okay. It's just a case of, if there's time, we'll use it.
I'll have a better idea after a certain point, after I've gotten all of the resources that I need. Then it becomes a case of go mode, essentially, and at that point it's a lot clearer what sort of time that I have.
Yep. So we're getting confirmation from Softman25 that was indeed the fingers crossed emoji. So
just getting mixed up here. I needed to keep those on me, so we're once again just processing some of these things here. This is where the dual fabricator setup comes in handy, because things conveniently take about as long to build as it does to process. So you can queue one up while waiting for the last one. So I need that other diamond still. That's fine, I'll be getting that. So I also need 5 of those. And I'll keep that spare battery on me. So now I'm building another part of my base here. So one of the other achievements is there is the kind of vanity pet almost of the game, the cuttlefish, which a lot of, need the quartz. I always forget the quartz. A lot of casual players love the cuttlefish because you can interact with it. It's a pain, honestly. It's one of the most missable achievements if you don't actually release it after it hatches. And it takes 20 minutes to hatch. So the reason I'm trying to get it done early in the run is because otherwise you're sitting around waiting for it. And I need some more metal as well. This is the bit that I haven't properly optimized in terms of counting out what I actually need, and I actually need some more metal, it seems, so that's inconvenient. I think I was meant to pick up more salvage earlier and didn't. So we'll grab a couple of these here. Thankfully we don't have to go too far away from my base. And actually that gives me a bit of an impression on how I'm going for time, at least compared to the PB that I got the other day, is that I'm about 5 minutes behind that pace, which would set us at about an hour 10, an hour 15, which is about what I'd expect. So that's dropped off. Doesn't matter that the base doesn't have power, it'll still hatch regardless in the alien containment. Now I need one of those, and I'll actually take that out again. And I need this, and a rubber. One of those. So I need to make myself a repair tool, which is quite convenient because it actually gives me a free battery. Why do I have this table coral on me? I have no idea. So we're just going to drop that. We're going to pop into our life pod again and get another free first aid kit. They regenerate every 10 minutes. It's quite convenient. And actually, come to think of it, I'm going to use remote storage again because I need that other diamond. And I'm going to get it from the place that I'm going next. So I did things kind of out of logic for how you're expected to do in the game, because I went to the Deep Grand Reef Degacy base just before in order to get that fish hatching quicker. There's actually a base of theirs right here, which you're kind of expected to discover first, because it actually gives you a beacon that points to the other base. But who cares about doing things the way you're supposed to? That's not what speedrunning is about. So we come down here. I never actually got the other... I'm lucky. Moonpool fragment. I never got it from the sparse reef like I was supposed to, so thankfully I got lucky there. Otherwise I would have had to have made a trip specifically back. There's the other diamond. Good. These outcroppings have a kind of a loot table associated with them, with a percentage chance of which resource that they could drop will drop. Which does mean that we can use that to our advantage in some cases. The sandstone earlier, I was miscounting, but you can use to know exactly what you mean. Instead of counting how much silver you have, you can just count how many sandstone you've broken and know that you will have exactly the right amount. Shale we don't get enough of to take advantage of it, unfortunately. So that's another achievement there that we just got, and we scanned the observatory. Again, the observatory we could have gotten in the Deep Grand base, but we have a lot more oxygen to play with at this point. We're now going to go visit the Aurora, and it hasn't exploded, and normally you can't access the Aurora until it explodes. Actually, while I think of it, I'm going to dump these in my locker. Technically I'll be saving my inventory, but just in case. There's a little maintenance hatch here that we can fly straight through, and it puts us out of bounds in between the outer shell of the Aurora and the inner shell. It's only accessible before the Aurora has exploded, and it's only useful in the glitched speedruns. Speaking of glitches and deconstructing wrecks, we can actually deconstruct the inside of the Aurora too. You used to be able to deconstruct the entire shell, but they patched that out. But you can at least deconstruct this to gain access into the reactor room. So we're going to do this, and then use one of those titanium to flood the base, and then collect it again. And now we swap out for the repair tool. We enter the base so that we will respawn back inside there. And we should keep our Super Sea Glide because we flooded it. I do have some medkits, but honestly, it's just as easy just to take a respawn into the base, because you start with full health again, and it gives you plenty of time to repair these 11 breaches that we have. You can actually still keep repairing things a bit after you doing the death animation as well. So I might have actually finished that one. Not quite. There's 2 of them above the water, which is really hard to see with this radiation overlay, but you know approximately where they are. And you can look for where the sparks are in order to be able to see them. Oops, that one. There's also little parasite creatures that do roam around this area, but if you keep kind of strafing around as you're doing things, you'll actually phase into the walls that these breaches are meant to be against, and I think they lose track of you. So you can kind of not be bothered by them too much. They're more of a problem than the glitchless speedrun when you... Oh, just as I was saying, because I was staying still on this one because it's above the surface, that's where I get grabbed. First time I've had to deal with one. You can just knife them off like that, thankfully. In glitchless, what you'll actually usually do is use the propulsion cannon to just target them and then fire them against a wall to get rid of them. It was the other one above the water is the next one, isn't it? I'm just going to wait until I respawn, so I'll have full health. And I'm actually going to preemptively deconstruct the hatch on this. The way the respawn mechanic works in this game is if you weren't in a... Well, yeah, let me start that again. The way the respawn mechanic works is that you will respawn in the base you last left. Now, if you deconstruct the hatch, it no longer gets recognized as a base, so it doesn't know where to put you, so it'll warp you back to the life pod, and that's extremely useful. You can cover kilometers of distance that way. So we just did another little out-of-bounds skip into the prawn bay here by jumping up in a certain place and running through an invisible wall. Unfortunately, things happen very quickly that it's hard to explain them as I'm doing them. And I need to take a medkit at this point. That's why I save at least one for when I'm inside here, because this is the important bit. We need to make sure that we get all of the prawn suit fragments. There are 4 large ones required in order to learn how to make the prawn suit. Only 3 exist in the outside world, so you always have to get at least one from inside the Aurora. And it's just easier if we get all 4. 2679 is always the code to the captain's quarters. Normally you need to go to a certain place and have a certain radio message in order to learn that, but it's always the same. If they threw random numbers into that as well, that would be a hell of a speedrun.
I can't help but notice the flashing radiation sign is the philosophy of the run. 3.6 Rontgen, not great, not terrible. Or
essentially, yes. Yep. In glitchless, you will get the radiation suit. You only get the blueprint of the radiation suit when the Aurora actually explodes. And that doesn't happen until a random point, funnily enough, about 46 to an hour, minutes 20 into the run. So for the glitched run, we completely shortcut that because we don't want to wait.
So we've got a couple donations. We've got $1.37 from Aquamaster, who says, "Good luck to you, AJ." Thank you, Aquamaster. And then we have a $54.77 donation from Razor1, who says, "Go fast, AJ, and may Casper bless the run." Thank you, Razor1. It's very generous of you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Glad that the gang's turning out. It's a convenient time for the North American peeps to watch, at least. People in Europe be having to stay up late. Got quite a global community for this game. So I'm doing the duplication glitch again on the moon pool because the titanium ingots take 10 metal each to create, and we need a lot of them. I can never remember how many I actually have to do. I do have it written in my notes, but nope, it's gone. Never mind. 2, 4, 6, 8. I need to do 2 more lots, I believe. It saves us having to scour the seabed for a lot of metal salvage. Yep. And now we need to dump a bunch of those and some of those. Oh, I still have base components on me, that's why. I should have dropped them. I think that's actually all I need, 12 of those, and I have 1 left back at my base. I'm going to leave that other one there just in case. And now I want to hopefully be able to do the same thing with an observatory. Sometimes it screws up. No, good. And of course, we're now out of that, but we'll drop all of those. There we go. So that's got some more late game materials sorted. Come in here, dump off all of those. Now we have 5 of them. We actually need 1 of them now. All of the lead can go back in here, bar 3. We need those 2. Just going to drop those back in there. The repair tool, I can now take the battery out. I don't need, I actually have a spare battery, which is nice. Oops. So I can now load up a full battery into that, a full battery into that, make ourselves a power cell, and then make ourselves a mobile vehicle base so we can start building some of those. So now we need 2 of those, 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. So we start making some plasteel ingots. And then let's just dump all but 1 of them back in there. I think that's about right. I'll drop the repair tool there. So, mobile vehicle bay allows us to create some of those vehicles that we're not going to use. And we climb up here. And we build the prawn suit first of all. So we're about 4 minutes behind time now, looks like. So that's actually on for about 1:10, but I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatched. Or my cuttlefish for that matter. And we grab the power cell out of there, so that we don't have to make another one. I'm not even sure if that saves time, to be honest. Oh, we also have the eclipse at the moment, so we're going to turn around and appreciate that. That happens at the 47-minute mark. Happens semi-regularly. You get an eclipse about every 3/4 of an hour or something in this game. It's one of the reasons to like this game, is it's very pretty. So that's created these sea
Don't you know
monsters.
you're not meant to look at an eclipse?
This guy has special glasses though, so it's fine.
Alright.
Space wizardry. So now we get 5 of those. I'm going to keep that spare battery. No, actually we don't need it. 3 of those. I need 1 copper. I need that. I'll take 1 of those. So I only need 2 gold later. That's good to know. Hang on. I have way too much copper wire. I went nuts on the copper wire earlier and I have way too much of it. That's why my numbers are off. That's fine. That doesn't matter. So, I need moon pool components as well. That's right. So, don't mind me just forgetting what I'm supposed to be doing. 1 of those. 1 of those. 2 of those. Oh yeah, that's right, isn't it? Yep, that's right. Good. Just double checking myself. So now I need to pick up the mobile vehicle bay. And we need to drop that off inside the life pod. What I'm actually going to do at this point is safety save. Because we've basically done the hard part in terms of all of the resource collection and everything like that. And now we're kind of in that go mode that I mentioned, where the times in terms of my split comparisons are going to be fairly consistent in distance because there's not too much more There's a little bit of resource RNG still with picking up some nickel from the lava zone. We love nickel. We'll find out why in a bit. So we're just going to head off towards the mountains, and now's a good time to read any donations.
No donations at the moment. I just want to say, don't stress too much about your time. You don't have to give too much of a running time thing. We got the information that we were looking for, so just focus on the run, my friend.
Yeah, no worries. It's more for my own interest out of anything else, to be honest.
All right. I know some people get nervous, so anyway, so just going to give a quick shout out. We're Oz Speedruns. We're a group who does speedrun events to raise money for charity. For this event, we're raising money for the Royal Flying Doctor Service, who provide emergency medical and primary healthcare services to anyone who lives, works, or travels in rural and remote Australia. If you'd like to donate, you can go to donate.ozspeedruns.com. I'm going to put that link in the chat. And if you'd like, that we've got some incentives to incentivize you, where I've just put that link in chat as well. And you can do things like there's a bid war for a costume select for Resident Evil 3 Nemesis that's coming up soon. Currently, I believe it's Regina is coming first at $17. Classic is next up at $11.55, and then the others are at $0. After that, there's a Resident Evil 2 Hunk Run to be unlocked. That's at $0 out of $300. So please get your donations in for that. Simply just put on the end of your dono message, put it towards Hunk, and that'll do that. Then coming up later, we've got the Simpsons Hit and Run Glitch exhibition. That's currently got $361.60 left out of the $500 donation goal. And then there's a bid war for the audio language of Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 2, and a Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance maximum any percent run to be unlocked, and that's got $250 left. We just got a donation in from Rubik's that is for $44.29. It says, "Hey AJ, hope Subnautica is treating you well today. Just relax and do what you do best. Rooting for you." Thanks, Rubik's. And I just want to say that we're at $3,468.37. So we're doing great so far, everyone. Keep it up. Thanks for all the donations. Back to you, AJ.
Yeah, it's amusing timing there for Rubik's because he's one of the top speedrunners. He has the world record in this category at the moment, and he'll be heavily face palming at the moment because I forgot that I was meant to get another copper. There we go, to make my solar panel. So that's an extra minute or so, just running back and forward because there's none over in that section. He's very demanding. He loves doing. There's a lot of people who do runs these days who will get him to. He's one of our verifiers for the leaderboards, and get him to verify them on stream because his reactions are quite priceless. So I can only imagine what his thoughts would be about this one. There we go. Now we make sure we get power.
That's a bold move. That's a bold move. Getting your verification live. With,
oh yeah.
With the reaction.
Hang on. Okay, now I need to do my storage. So we put those in there. We grab this out, and then so I still need one more lithium. I need something. Here we go. Oops, wrong one. I was supposed to reassign that. Need to flood this base so I can get Super Sea Glide again. Normally, when I'm building this base, I would have power because it would still be daytime, but because of that time waste, we didn't get that. So we don't get a refill on our oxygen, unfortunately. So we're just going to drop the eye stalk and purple tablet there. That is just so that we can have a bit more inventory space. We get another purple tablet here. There's a little mistake that the devs made and it clipped out of bounds. Fairly sure it's not intentional. We can thankfully slightly clip through everything with Super Sea Glide. There's the other lithium that I need. So we can pick it up from out of bounds. So I need some Cyclops engine fragments. Here we go. I think I only need 2 more. Yep, and here's the second one there. Perfect. Cool. Now we go up for air again. head off towards our life pod. You can hear some distant roars of reapers. We have a couple of resident Reaper Leviathans around this area, Eileen and Mabel, and they're a lot of fun. So we get some more oxygen again. Once we're full, about here, reassign that, and then dive. That's about right. A bit too far right, but never mind. We're a bit more forgiving on this section in all achievements than we are in any percent, because we do take a respawn in order to refill our oxygen. So putting a mobile vehicle bay against the wall like that allows us to clip out of bounds, sometimes, if you place it correctly. Oh, that sandstone is probably mucking things up as well, to be honest. Because it unfolds into the wall, and we go out of bounds. There we go. And now we pick it up again, and drop. One of the very useful little glitches in the game. This is just a little shortcut. You can actually just go a more normal route down into the Lost River biome, but that shortcut's about 20 seconds, assuming you get it right first time, so slightly less. So we get this ghost weed here, don't worry about it. Just going to dip into the brine here. I also don't know if anyone can hear me at the moment, because I thought I heard the Discord sign-off sound, so I have no idea what's going on with that. So I'm hoping that it's all good, and that it's not my end.
We can hear you.
Okay.
that was just our setup manager ducking out so they can set up the next run.
Right, makes sense. I just remember there was a bit of a issue earlier with one of the runs. So we're just going to make sure we can super see back in there.
When I mute myself, is that coming through as doo-doo?
No, I only heard the one just from that disconnection.
Thank you. I'd been wondering if I'd been making random noises on the stream.
No, it was just that one, which is what got
me
concerned.
If I'm not talking, might as well mute.
Yeah, fair enough. Yes.
So while I give this a chance... Sorry?
I'm just going to explain this a little bit here. We just run into this area here. This is another one of the achievements to go to this particular place. Sometimes I pick up that iron cube, but I don't actually need to. And then I'll just wait to drown, to be honest, because you get an odd artifact in this game from double dying, and it can screw things up if you're not careful. So we'll just do that. So now's the perfect time for anything else.
Yes, so we just got a $54.77 donation from Astrius. So Astrius is one of the coordinators of FAST, and says, "Hello all, I hope you've been enjoying FAST. I know I have. I want to get that hunk incentive going, so here's a starter for it." Yes, thank you very much, Astrius. And that puts hunk at $54.77 out of the $300 incentive type.
That's the next incentive that we want to meet, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
If there's anything that comes through that is like runner's choice or anything, then chuck that against that one, because we want to meet all those incentives in order. So I just managed to pick up 3 nickel, much quicker than I expected. They're very difficult to see down here because they just blended terrain, and there's all the fish and everything that look very similar to them. So I got lucky. I was fully expecting to have to trawl the slopes of this place for like 2 minutes. It's one of the most disheartening reset spots in a grind run, because you get all this way, you've put in a lot of investment to this point, you've gotten good teeth, you've gotten everything right, and then there's no nickel. Build our moon pool up here. So we're using this moon pool basically as a respawn location. I'm having inventory issues and I can't remember why. I don't need the propulsion cannon anymore. I can get rid of that. I want to pick up another kyanite. That's now 4 of those, and then I just need 3 sulfur. Okay. So we're going to go into this base to save our progress. It also saves your inventory. And we're going to just take a short trip down here to the lava because we want to tune our health to a very specific level. Obviously, we go and save our progress in the base before we do that, just in case we get a bit overzealous. And now we jump inside again.
Did you just take a quick dip into that magma?
Yep. Just a little spa, you know, it's good for your skin.
Just a bit warm.
You don't take health as fast as you'd expect. You expect it to be instant death going into that stuff, but it actually just ticks away maybe 10 units a second or something, so you can use it to tune your health, because at this point here, we want to jump off here, and then we'll respawn outside so we don't have to run out. It just saves 20 to 30 seconds or something. And voila, here we are. And now we have Super Sea Glide again. We deconstruct the moon pool. And now we need 2, so we still need 3 more sulfur. Gonna come over this side. Normally we tune the next out of bounds clip based on where it was that we have our base set up in the shallows, but because my base is in such a bad position for like a normal speedrun, I'm just going to do this one because it's easiest. I'll just have to go for a quick jaunt to actually fetch it later. Basically what happens is that the terrain deloads, but certain items such as bases and the mobile vehicle bay persist. So all of that terrain that's holding it in place will disappear once I'm far enough away, and it'll just float up to the surface. So that's 9 inventory spots that we free up. Comes in handy. Otherwise you have so many inventory space issues. Being able to do that and the remote storage are 2 of the greatest aspects in refining this run down further, beyond just the speed boost you get from Super Sea Glide. So we're doing the storyline aspect of this game at the moment. So there's Big Mama. She's just going to power pose like that for a while. She's waiting for someone to come in the top way. We came in the back entrance without her knowing. And we're just going to pop these cubes in here, activate the portals, and through we go. Unfortunately, unskippable cutscene. I'm just going to be messing around with a few things, so if we've got anything else to talk about, now's a good time.
Not much else to talk about. I just wanted to let everyone know that the setup block is scheduled to be next, but because we've got so much time, I believe we're going to be using that for a bonus run, and we'll have more details about that later.
Exciting.
So, lovely voice break there from me, and with that, back to you, AJ.
Alright, thanks. Yeah, bonus runs are always exciting. So we just made the hatching enzyme that's required. That's all the plant materials that we were picking up earlier that take up so much of our inventory is required for this. And we do that, and then you can wait for the eggs to hatch, but the babies are actually already outside. And then we're going to wash our hands in some baby vomit, basically. Very, very gracious game. Basically, very topical. We are going to wash our hands very thoroughly so that we're not contaminated before we go inside and turn off the quarantine enforcement platform. I'm getting knocked around by one of the hatchlings. It's really nice when they actually knock you towards this way instead of away from it, but it is also only a 10-second run up and in here, so it's not really that much of a worry. Ram our face into that wall because we can. And then we do a little hop, skip and a jump up here. This is the platform section. This is where we turn into Super Mario. And oh, I didn't tune my health earlier, that's a shame. I was meant to make sure that I had 25 health so that I could jump off in that ramp route later and do my warp to the life pod, but I didn't. You need to make use of the acid mushrooms in the aquarium where I dropped off the cure, but I completely forgot. So we're just going to have to probably just run up through the platforming section 3 times just for practice. There we go. Do that. Honestly, despite all of the RNG in this game, the main run killer is just forgetting things.
Oh, I feel you on that one. I feel you on that one. That's the big killer of every run. We got a $15 donation from Softman25. Softy is another one of our coordinators. Works very hard behind the scenes. It says, "Hi all, backing up Asti. Hope you're all having a great time at Fast 2020. Big shout out to everyone working behind the scenes to get everything running. You'd be surprised at how much effort goes into it. Hunk is a good egg, so let's try to get it on screen." I completely agree that Hunk is a good egg. And that brings the total for Hunk up to a very nice $69.77 out of the 300 total. Get your donations in.
Perfect. Speaking of nice eggs, or good eggs, the cuttlefish is hatched, so we can now release this guy and get him off our list. We're actually going to play with the fish because we can. This is why the guy is so adorable in casual playthrough. But unfortunately they're also programmed to get in your way, like to stay in your line of vision, so I'm going to tell him to stop following me because he's going to get annoying. It's like that needy little friend that just, you know, like a little younger brother. And I should know, I am a younger brother. Just going to make a lot of this plasteel here. Theoretically, you can use the duplication glitch to actually get plasteel directly, but you need to make a nuclear reactor, which is just yet another thing that you have to scan. I didn't pick up all of the lithium from here, did I? There we go. So hopefully that's everything that I need now. Yep, 7 of those. Makes sense. Yep. I now want the other 2 of those, 4 of them, 2 of those, and these fancy ion cubes. Make some cool electronics. And then we're going to have to go and fetch our mobile vehicle bay from the northern end. So what do I need from here? I need to get the electronics out. I'll leave those extra computer chips that I made for no good reason whatsoever. Not computer chips, copper wire, sorry. I need Super Sea Glide again. So normally we want a spawn location up at the northern end of the shallows, and the reason for that is this is where our mobile vehicle bay ended up from the lava zone. Quite convenient if you have a spawn like here to be able to move over to a position over here to be able to build the rocket, because then you can't fit everything in your inventory all at once, so you need to make 2 trips. So the closest you are to where your base is, the better. I'm not sure where the closest point from this is going to be. I'm gonna guess over this way somewhere. Unfortunately, the reason for this is that both the rocket platform and the Cyclops both have a check that uses a map of the shallows in one of the integrated parts of the code to determine whether or not it's deep enough. Why it matters when it's a floating platform, I have no idea. But it is what it is. I believe it's the same image that is used to plot where your spawn locations are. Or something along those lines. Or it might just be the topography of the map. So now I've got to come all the way back in order to get all of the ingredients to be able to make the Cyclops as well. And we make the Cyclops for literally one reason. Well, technically in this, 2 reasons, because this is all achievements, so we do need to make it because it is an achievement. Normally we make it for one reason only, and that is to be able to make the shield generator, which is required for the rocket, for the cockpits. So a lot of the resource gathering in any percent is dedicated to things for the Cyclops, and it's something that in any percent you don't otherwise need, because you don't care about the achievement. Do a little dolphin dive, and lag the game. Start that going. Come over here. I'm just going to nudge the mobile vehicle base slightly, so that way the Cyclops will build closer to the platform. Ideally I want it to be actually slightly on the platform, but it's very hard to judge. Oh no, that looks about right. Let me jump up here. In the old patch the collision was quite tricky, and when the Cyclops falls on the platform it'll tilt the whole platform. In the current patch the platform is rock solid, so the Cyclops can just fall and just tilt like that.
Whoa, floating.
Set that going. And then we just jump inside and we have a slip and slide. It just means that we don't need to worry about jumping back on top of the platform again. We do that, we do that. We can actually pick that up from anywhere in the Cyclops. You don't have to be next to the fabricator, so we can just be running on our way out. And we're back on the platform already. And now we can just be over here waiting for the next. And it illuminates our rocket. There we go. And now we wait, unfortunately, because each rocket stage takes 30 seconds to build and I can't do anything until the next one. And then it's a rapid dash up the stairs.
Well, that's a perfect opportunity because we have a donation.
Perfect.
We've got a $54.77 donation from Upjohn. And Upjohn says, just have to donate to get myself on stream. This goes to Hunk. This is what the donation incentive is for, right? Upjohn is claiming he is a hunk and therefore needs to donate towards himself.
Yep.
So thank you, Upjohn. And that brings our hunk incentive up to $124.54 out of 300. So it's getting there pretty quickly. Keep it up, friends, and we'll get to see that hunk run soon.
Over halfway there.
Not quite.
Not quite? I thought it was 300 you said 150. Never mind.
I said $124.54.
I heard the cents.
Just under.
Well, we'll need to work on that then, won't we?
That's right. We're at 41%. Let's get going.
So we're coming up on time here. We're just going to enable the controls on the rocket, and then we'll be sitting in the chair, and that's when the ending cutscene begins. Life support systems online, and that's time.
That is 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 35 seconds. GG to you, AJ. So, do you have any shout-outs you would like to make? Any comments? Any things like that?
Yeah, shout-outs to the community. Been really good support of people coming in and giving some donations of their hard-earned cash during the stream. A lot of the names very familiar. Unfortunately, the European contingent, I imagine, would have found it a bit difficult to tune in, but I hope they catch up with it tomorrow and check out the VOD. It's been a pleasure running this game. It's been quite a great community to be part of. It's always quite caring. We're all very supportive and love seeing new runners. If it's a game that you're interested in and you feel that you can put up with the RNG elements, then we'll be more than happy to have you. And if not, there's always creative.
Yes, very good.